Morning, sir.
Good morning. I emailed you the, I emailed you guys on Friday the minutes from last year's meeting, and hopefully that would clarify any issues. But I do know that this year interest rates are higher compared to last year, so
I think the first order of business, we have to reorganize the board. Is
Okay.
that correct, Mr. Schneider?
yes, it is.
I'll move that we keep,
The same one last year.
we keep myself as the president and the treasurer as the secretary.
I'll second.
Any other discussion? All in favor of the motion, say aye.
Aye.
Aye. Motion carried. Okay, thank you, sir.
Good.
Want to make sure we did the process in the
Yes,
right order.
okay. All right, thank you.
And then we had minutes from last
We had
year.
minutes from last year, mailed to you, I believe, on Friday. And so last year compared to this year, interest rates will be higher, so we're expecting larger interest payments. I believe that's on page 2 of the packet that I have in front of you guys up here in the front, up top. Cerise, right here. There it is. Talks about the interest that we earned from last year. And then,
For the public record, there's 87,764.
okay,
Approximately, is that correct?
That is accurate. And on the 4th page, it talks about the 2-year-old checks, which I know is a topic that we have discussed a lot in previous years. So usually after this meeting, we try to contact them another way. I feel like I know several of those people, so with the help of my staff, we're going to get a hold of them and see if we can get those distributed.
And if they, do you have any checks that you would like to roll into the county, or how does that work again? Do you remember?
I do know that, yes, if we do not get a hold of them, then they'll roll in. But I think we're gonna wait till, I wanna try and make an attempt to get a hold of them. So we'll do that this week.
Does it need the Board of Finance's consent to roll those in if they're 2 years old, do you know? I don't recall how that worked. We work with Mr. Harris to make sure we're in the right process on that.
Okay, I will.
I think we're just allowed to roll them back because they're over 2 years old and the checks say they're void.
For the checks.
Right, after the 2 years old, we run a report, we try to contact them again, and if we can't find
There
them.
was something that we have done before, with the auditor's office, I recall maybe.
We'd roll them back to the fund they came out of, but
It's something we had to do to declare. I'll check on it.
Thank you.
Okay. So other than that, I would expect big things for next year, that our interest rates, our interest income will be higher than this year, so that's a positive thing.
One of the depressing statistics that I used to bring in every year when I was the treasurer was we had made at one time over $1 million a year in interest.
Mhm.
And then by the time I left office, I think it was 75,000, something similar to where we're at now.
Right.
Just because interest rates have been really low for a long time. The Fed has raised those rates considerably, so there should be more demand for the money, so I hope we'll do better this year. Like you said.
So next year I'll have a comparison, maybe we'll try to let you know from the previous years as to what our interest collected.
Are there any of the local institutions that aren't bidding, like Fifth Third, you know, are they?
Fifth Third is not, so my first week, all the banks have reached out, except Freedom has not reached out, Old National reached out, so we're gonna get everybody in the loop, anybody has a chance to bid. Who has reached out to me will get a chance. So,
While everybody's looking at those, I'll make a motion that we approve the Board of Finance minutes from January 18th of 2022. Second. Any other discussion? All in favor, say aye.
Aye.
Aye. The motion carries, so pass that over. I know you've only been in the office a short amount of time, but is there anything investment-wise, Board of Finance-wise, that you can see that is, that you're gonna be doing any differently than anything we've done in the past, or?
not at this time. I think it'll just be the standard procedure, but we're gonna We'll try to keep it local. I think some of the money has been outside of here, which is okay, because that's where the rates were. And we'll try to bring some of that back.
Sounds good. Yeah, so Cerise, we only have this Board of Finance meeting once a year, generally in January. We can call another meeting at any time we would need one.
You're on there.
We haven't really had any need to over the last at least 6 years. I don't believe that we've ever called a new meeting for anything. I don't think our drainage board. So. Does anyone have anything additional from Treasurer Drummond? No. Do you have anything else for us?
At this time,
Welcome aboard.
thank you very much.
We'll call the meeting closed.
Okay.
Thank you, sir.
Thank you very much.
Sure. That motion, okay. We just- Chase the rest of it. We're gonna wait just a few minutes and then we'll start the meeting. Another thing I can
Or you want to find that?
I just need to go to the rules on how we can, if it has to be appropriate.
That's right.
I just turned it off while it was done.
Oh, okay.
You're.
I just have it in there.
I didn't want to have it just.
Yeah, I took something to that.
Okay. Officially real time.
Okay, well, thank you for that.
Yeah, no problem.
I used to get a bid from them every time, but they were never.
Was it? That's right. It may be nothing.
Right. But we'll check that out.
That's fine, I had it on, I had a little note here to ask you about
Yeah.
that for a friend.
Like I said, we purchased.
Yeah, thank you.
There's 3 things. Yeah.
Mark, you said it out of his newsletter.
So,
He was in the newsletter, yeah.
Go through Ireland, take the Ireland source We've been looking probably for about 5 years.
Yes.
The one that came in is one There's 2 months plus a shop. We need.
Right.
So, yeah. We were a little concerned about the whole thing and stuff. We were trying to find a house or something. I struggled to find something until, we'll do whatever. I might have to wait, but then, so be it. I like to find a house. We looked like a Kirsten's home, that's not. We looked at the condos in Washington town, there's just 2 of us. But yeah. I had Kirsten's trying to sell my house and I was gonna go over there. Perfect for us. And they push it, push it. It's like 2 blocks away from neighbors.
Courtesy thing or something. Yeah. Yeah.
Nope, we're good.
I know.
It's okay. That's okay.
She worked that day, so I guess that, you know, that was
Morning, everyone. We will begin the Boise County Commissioners meeting for January 17, 2023. Begin with the Pledge of Allegiance. I pledge
Allegiance to the flag of the United States of America and to the republic for which it stands, one nation, under God, indivisible, with liberty and justice for all.
We have a quorum present, and we'll do business. The first item up, we had payroll. Does anybody have any questions or concerns on the payroll? Nope. Seeing none, I'll move that we approve the payroll as presented.
I'll second.
Any other discussion? All in favor, say aye.
Aye.
Aye. The motion carries. I did notice the payroll was higher than it has been recently. That's partially because of the raises and partially because at the end of the year, usually people are cashing out of different things, I suppose. But should be down a little bit again next time. Next up, we have minutes from the January 3rd meeting. Anybody have any changes for the minutes? Seeing none, I'll move that we approve January 3rd minutes as presented.
Second.
All in favor of the motion, say aye.
Aye.
Aye. The motion carries. And then we have the claims against the county in the voucher register. I'll move that we approve as presented.
I'll second.
Any other discussion? Seeing none, all in favor, say aye.
Aye.
Aye. That motion carries. First item on the agenda today is the prosecutor.
Good morning,
Good morning.
everyone. So, hand these out. I am here today about requesting something kind of unusual. It's a new position that would be unpaid, it's a temporary position. And I'll explain. So, last year, there was a 6-week-long grand jury. So typically people are charged through probable cause affidavits and charging informations. It is unusual that we would do grand juries, but it is an option. There was a 6-week-long grand jury. There were 3 people indicted as part of the grand jury proceedings, and they were child molestation cases, and they are quite complex cases. Stephanie Smith, who was formerly a deputy prosecutor here, handled those cases. She now has moved on to a new prosecutor's office. Her last day was January 6th, but given the complex nature of the cases and wanting to have continuity and basically what's best for the victims, having the same attorney handle it throughout, she is willing to come down here and continue to do those cases unpaid, which I think is quite generous of her. But I have drafted and had signed this memorandum of understanding between myself and the prosecutor in Clinton County, which is the new county where she is going to be employed. She's going to be paid there full time. She's got benefits there. She's willing to forego any pay here. She just basically wants to do what's right by the victim. So she wants to finish these cases, which I appreciate. And I'm asking that she be appointed as a special deputy prosecutor. So basically you guys would be creating a new position. It's unpaid. It's only for her, it's for this short amount of time, which I can't determine because I don't know when the cases will be done. They're all currently set for trial, but those could get moved, so. It just basically says that the scope of her employment is just for those cases. I will compensate her for mileage and for any lodging expenses, so if she has to come down here during the trial and spend the night at a hotel, I'll pay that through my budget. She'll be responsible for tracking her hours to make sure she gets her hours there, and she's not really, she can't say she's double dipping because she's not getting paid here, but basically make sure she's completing her duties at her other job. I talked to Greg Schneider about it. He thinks that the memorandum of understanding is fine. He would like Stephanie to agree to sign off on it as well. She was involved in drafting the whole thing, so I'm sure she'll be fine signing it. So I can have her sign it. But outside of that, I would just ask you to approve a new position to allow her to finish these cases.
Okay, thank you for the presentation. Anyone on the board have any questions? I have no questions either. I was aware of this and I approved myself. I'll make a motion that we appoint Stephanie M. Smith as a special prosecutor as written on this memorandum of understanding for the duration as listed on here as well.
When I have her sworn in, I'll have her sign the memorandum of understanding.
I'll second.
Okay, any other discussion? All in favor say aye. Aye. Motion carries.
Thank you.
And I think I asked you to talk with Human Resources too, if there was any issues there, so if there is, that'd be about the only other thing I'd request. So.
I think me and Mark here are good beef spoke, so.
Thank you.
Okay, thank you.
Highway Supervisor report?
Good morning.
Thank you.
Okay, good morning.
Good morning.
First thing on my report is let you know about the office water damage that we're dealing with right now. CertaPro is going to be coming in tomorrow to the garage to begin demolition of all areas that were damaged by the water leak that took place on December 26th. The insurance company recommended taking out pretty much all of the flooring, and there's some with the baseboards and possibly the walls as well. So the extent of damage, we really don't know what it is going to be yet, but we'll have a better idea probably later on in the week. So what I'd like to ask is from the commissioners and council to approve $25,000 to help take care of some of this. We've got a deductible that we also have to meet. Whether it comes out of rainy day or whatever, that you all, better than that. So to cover the expenses that are incurred here. We have set up temporary offices in our break room. The girls and myself are kind of crammed in there. It's a work in progress, but we're making through it. And I'm sure this is going to be a wild month or so. But anyhow, asking for $25,000 to help cover the costs on this.
Actually, we've advertised 30, Mike and I talked about it,
Okay.
just so you know.
I guess, why would we need $30,000 if insurance is gonna cover it? I mean, I know we would have a deductible, but it would be this much.
What Mike and I talked about was having enough there to pay, and then if the insurance pays it back, it would go back into that fund. But we do know we have a deductible, that it's gonna have to be a deductible,
So we're assuming that we'll get some of it back, or we're,
possibly.
and will this redo the floor in the break room as well? Or does it just go back to the?
I believe some of that was impacted as well. I know the walls
Walls
were Walls have water in them.
I would guess that, in my opinion, would be the appropriation of money would be the council's business, but from our side, I don't have a problem with it. I don't have a problem with it.
I mean, we won't know the damage until they pull like the baseboards and all that stuff off there, correct?
Yeah, it's
Because there
just
could
hard
be
to
mold
say.
or anything behind that, and that's a whole new
That's-
issue.
Exactly right. They're supposed to be in tomorrow, knock on wood.
So there's a deductible, and then we possibly get some of that back, or most of it back.
Well, I think we have $10,000 deductible, so we can get a lot of that.
Wow, okay, I
Right.
didn't know, and I didn't wanna ask. Okay. Yeah, something that large, I'm sure it is a big deductible,
Yeah, it's hard to know the extent right now
Sure.
today,
understand,
so.
I'm good.
So you don't have any opposition from this board, so I guess just work with the council if they approve it.
Okay. Thank you.
Yes, sir.
Next item was part of the handout that I gave you is our activity summary for 2022. This includes all of the paving, surface treatments, patching, bridges, culvert replacements, road striping, signage that we did. If anybody's got any questions on them, I just spent just a little bit of time to review. Basically, I started out with all the hot mix projects. Goes into the seal coats, which is basically your rejuvenators and seal coats, that type of thing. So basically, every operation is totaled down through there, and as you go on through, later on, it's broken down in township, so if you're, want to see what happened in, say, Madison Township or Bainbridge or whatever, it's kind of listed there as well, so. Just for your information, that gives you an idea of everything that we had done throughout the course of the year. I think if you look at page 2 and 3, that also gives a list of the roads that the county has planned on upgrading from gravel roads to chip seal roads. There are 3 of them left. Yeah, down at the bottom of the page here. There's 3 roads left that are still on the first come, first served basis. One of those, Cusco Road North, Cusco Norton Road, which is gonna be done this year. The way it looks with the cost of each one of them, it'll be a year for each one. And then when you get into the next page at the very top, there are 3 roads in there that are based on the new evaluation score that we put together. So any of these can leapfrog the other one if there's additional homes that are, put on or that were built along the roadway. If the people decide that they want to contribute money to the paving, that also increases the score where somebody can leapfrog somebody else. So
Okay.
that's in there for your benefit as well, because a lot of times you'll get phone calls where, where's our road on the list and all that. So there is a real list there, so. But, as I said, look through it. If you've got any info or any questions on it, please give me a call and be happy to spend time going through it, so.
So it looks like it's about $107,000 a mile to pave. Does that sound about right when you do your estimates somewhere in
Very
there?
close.
Not cheap.
No.
We did 25 miles divided by the amount we spent.
I think if you look in there too, there's a place in there where I totaled up everything, I think, along with the seal coats and everything that was done. There's a amount of miles here. I think there's
That's where our money was spent.
there should be a total mileage.
Safety improvements here.
Should be. try to do is impact 50 to 60 miles of road a year, whether it's hot mix, whether it's seal coats, chip seal overlays, that type of thing. So we try to impact for the betterment 60 miles of road each year. So, and I think you can tell, especially in a lot of places that we had ripped up, where there's bad places, you know, we're taking the time to get some base on the road. That's where a lot of our roads are suspect. Get some base underneath them, get it repaved, and a lot of these areas that we've been doing for a long time, we're not having to go back and redo. So I think we're getting ahead. So. Okay. On your handout, if you go to the back page, 2022 hourly equipment rates. We have that list, that's the title there, it should be for this year 23, which is reflective of current FEMA rates. The prices do not include the cost of an operator or any materials that are being used. It's just the cost of a piece of equipment. So looking for approval for those equipment rates.
I have no issue with them. Anybody have any comments? Okay. I'll move that we approve the 2023 hourly equipment rates.
I'll second.
Any other discussion? All in favor, say aye.
Aye.
Aye. Motion carries.
Okay, next item, our equipment rotation. If you look on the next page that was handed out, you'll see our list for 2023, 24, 25, and 26. However, I'd like to focus on 2023. The first item we've got there is a heated upright tank, which has been installed. It's doing really well. The other one was, we were able to get scrap metal price for it. So, and that is going to be paid for with this next check run. The next issue, which is the boom mower, the one we have now is been pretty decommissioned. There's just a bunch of metal shavings and everything that there's a problem inside the rear end, and with the age and everything, we're just gonna trade it off. We're looking at a new boom mower with the cost of roughly $180,456.03. What we wanted to do is a Sourcewell purchase. What we wanted to do with this, the rollers that we have now, the tractor was purchased from one dealer, and the diamond mower was purchased through another dealer, and we've had issues with the tractors. So in order for the person repairing the tractor to get in and work on it, they had to pull the boom mower off, which was an additional cost to us. So what we were trying to find was one dealer responsible for both. So if something like this happened again, we didn't have to pay to have the mower taken off and put back on. So that's why we were looking at this one here. They are a registered John Deere dealer and Diamond mower dealer. So,
Blue Diamond through Hudson,
just Diamond, if it's a regular Diamond mower. Yeah.
but you're gonna get it through Hudson.
Through Hudson, yes.
Okay, just pay attention to the warranty behind them,
Mhm.
just from experience, so just FYI there.
Mm-hmm. Yeah, so, they'll take care of the whole thing. There should be a piece of equipment coming in around May, which is the time that we're gonna need it. And I'd like to make this purchase. We have money in our budget right now to make this purchase and get it going so we can get it ordered and get on that list. So,
So why is it that we don't need to bid this product out?
with doing it with Sourcewell, you're guaranteeing getting the lowest price for that piece of equipment. I think we had done the same thing with the Caterpillar grader last year. Many other municipalities are using this as well.
Steve, did you go with the front wheel assist on this?
Yes, it is.
So on the quote, we're trading in a 2011. On the equipment rotation, we have a 2018 case. Is that something different? So it's 2011 not listed on the equipment for trade? You see what I'm talking about or no?
Yeah, that case is at 18. We had troubles with the other ones.
So we need to, so on here, we would have had that item as well as 2011. And 2011 is what's getting traded in for this purchase. And what's this replacing?
This is the one that's going, it's being traded out for the 23 model.
From there, it says we're trading in 2011.
It's
Doesn't
a
it?
typo. It's 2018. It's 2018 boom mower tractor.
And isn't it odd that it only lasted 5 years? I mean, do we know, there again, on the warranty deal, we don't, I know the warranty wouldn't last 5 years probably.
Right. This was a,
We had issues with
is
those.
a bad, this moment it rolled into the shop, we had issues with it.
And still have.
Did we trade 2 others off already that,
The entire, that entire
Yeah.
fleet.
yeah, they were
They
just,
were a problem from the very beginning.
I remember that.
So that's what I was
Okay.
going to make for me. As long as, I didn't know if they're going to give us any, you think they know what they're getting? And they just typed it wrong? Yeah. I was just hoping maybe in 18 we get more money than we would for 11. Is this for us to keep or do you need it back?
I'll need that back, but, just so everybody's had a chance to.
Three things to look at.
Oh, Steve, when you say 21, you mean 23?
Yes.
It's actually 2020.
2018.
Okay.
Right, so I think what he has,
That's, or the quote.
Okay.
Quotes them. I think the old mower on the back, it was an old rear mount mower, that's an 11. But the tractor and mower, we're going along with getting it. We'll give you 2 mowers.
Well, and this was without the front wheels. This was, we found out with that Massey.
so it's 2018
Way
Boom
more
Mower.
trade from the same guy.
That more metal there holding things up.
Mr. Schneider, you recall the Sourcewell agreement that's,
We used it last year, I recall, it was greater, which, updating on that one, we still don't even have a build date. So, I guess the question, yes, we utilized that last year, I remember it's kind of like we do for some of our office furniture from time to time. We signed that with them, I believe.
Yes.
if you believe this is the best route, we need to have the equipment, so anybody up here have any comments or concerns on this?
The only concern I have is, like I said, it's the warranty on the mowers. Just make sure they sign off on it. It's very important by experience because they have to,
Alright, I move that we support the equipment rotation list as been presented to us, including the boom mower trade-in and the purchase.
Second.
Any other discussion? All in favor of the motion, say aye.
Aye.
Aye. Anyone opposed? Motion carries.
Okay, the last item we have, and it has to do with the mechanic's service truck. That one there is also in our replacement plan. We had talked to local dealers here and found out that there is no available slots for a new truck for 2023. We're looking at 24. So What I had in mind was to also look at a source will purchase of some place where we can actually come up with one on a lot. We would like to put a general specification together, which basically gives the GVW that we need the truck to be, cab to axle length, engine size, that type of thing.
What's
we also-
GVW?
The gross vehicle weight. You know, what it's designed to carry. Our service truck has, it's a utility bed that obviously carries all of our tools, which weighs a lot. We also have compressors and a crane and that type of thing. We also carry hydraulic and engine oil along with it in compartments. So it's, you know, we just take it out, we service a piece of equipment out in the field, it's ready to go. So it's been a really valuable tool for us. But in order to do this, if we're trying to get something done this year, is to try to find something on a lot that basically hits our target of specification.
Are you going back to a Ford? Not necessarily.
Whatever might be out there.
Can they locate for you? I mean, is that the plan?
That was the plan, right?
Yeah, that's the
I
plan.
talked to the local
They can-
and
okay.
locate,
They
yeah.
are. All right.
Yeah, so they're gonna be looking around and try to find something. Now that they did say, as far as swapping, if they find something in California, usually they try to swap something of like,
Sure.
they wouldn't have anything to swap. So we'll have to work that out.
Sure.
We're in kind of uncharted waters here. That just it's crazy how this vehicle thing is turning out. But we have discussed with a couple of vendors our need for the utility bed, so we have an idea where we're going to go with that one. But the chassis is still up in the air until we locate one. And I've got money in my budget to take care of the first items that we had talked about, but with this one here, I'd like the commissioner and council's help to put some money in our line item. So if we do happen to come across one, we can get the purchase taken care of. So
Either your specifications pretty much the same as when you were buying new, or if you relaxed them a little bit because of the shortage.
as far as the engine type of thing, but the bigger trucks, obviously, we want to go with Cummins because that's where our diagnostic equipment is pretty much focused. But as far as the ton trucks, yeah, they've been relaxed somewhat. You know, we're more concerned right now with just a chassis that's going to be able to handle the weight that's going to be designed for this truck. So
So is this a gas or diesel?
diesel.
What are we gonna do with the 2006 Ford?
Traded.
Traded in? Okay, I didn't know if we can try to sell it outright or
We could do something like that.
compare the two.
And really, you know, to be honest with you, in the area that we're going, we might be better off just to sell it on our own. Because if we find something, say in Kansas City, I didn't mean to say that.
Yes, you did.
Wherever we find one, you know, it's probably gonna be a straight out purchase. So, that would leave us with that piece of equipment that we could sell on our own. So that might be the best way to go.
I didn't know if they had said, if you're dealing with one dealership, if they had said anything about that one as far as what it's worth, or if you blue booked it yourself, or what you've done, so.
Now, if we can work out a deal that's acceptable,
Sure, absolutely.
but, yeah,
Sure.
as far as right now, it's kind of uncharted waters. So,
Okay.
but yeah, I think we'd probably be better off doing it that way.
Is this Ford diesel, I'm assuming? Is it diesel as well?
The one we have now is a gas. It is a
V10.
10-cylinder gasoline.
Okay.
Yeah.
Okay.
And it doesn't do very well.
Might be a little bit harder to get rid of. It's probably got a lot of miles on it, right?
So is there something wrong with the current one, or just that you're trying to be proactive for it?
Proactive. And it is, it's got more weight on it than it should have. We're stepping the size of the chassis up as well.
This is a lot of an investment. What do you think? Do we replace it this year? Wait another year? I mean, if it's still working?
I think if he's already got a year's wait to try to get a new one, I think we should start now.
Move forward with that?
Yeah, I think we were holding off on a couple of the things. We had that brine truck went down and this tractor here, I'm just afraid anything we push back pushes something else back and I think it would just make sense if we can try to do it now.
And where did you want the money to come from?
Possibly Cume Cap. If the council decides. But I'll be able to talk.
So many dollars are you talking about?
175.
So is this, according to your paper here, are you putting in 17,000?
Yes, that's the money out of our appropriation. We have 267,000 in our equipment purchase line item right now. The 17,000 is what's left after we pay for the heated tank and the boom mower. So we would move that over to help pay down what was necessary on the other one.
So you're gonna ask for 175, you may not need it all because you'll use your money first.
Yes.
Sounds like the board is in favor of you proceeding to the council to see if they have funds available for the purchase. Am I correct there? Correct. Correct. Sounds like there's a consensus for that. Move forward.
Okay. And that's all I've got. Unless you've got something.
420 North sign.
Listen again?
It's been missing for, I don't know, a few months.
It's in the process of coming back.
You found who took it, I mean, you're getting a new
Road
one.
names.
We are working something.
Okay.
We need to change that road name.
Did you move it a quarter mile?
Well, that was a thought, yeah, but then everybody that lives on that road have to change their address and.
There's quite a few homes. Yeah. You go all the whole loop. Okay, so
But there is
it's being taken care of. I just, every time I drive by, I see a pole.
a replacement plan is in progress.
Great, that's what I want to hear. We may need to electrify it.
That's why you said it, I was thinking.
Yeah.
Okay, so on Friday, I sent you guys a copy of the Community Crossings 2022-2. Yeah, I get it straight. If that is acceptable for you, I sent Greg a copy to you as well. Okay. If you guys that's okay with you guys, I will sign that on your behalf via DocuSign when I get back. It's for Portersville Road in the town of Portersville.
Okay, I'm in favor. Any other discussion on that? I'll move that we approve Mr. Wenhol signing the document for it.
I'll tell you.
All in favor of the motion, say aye.
Aye.
Aye. Motion carries.
Okay, 20 Community Crossings 23-1, I submitted on January 5th. Now it's just a waiting game just to see if it's approved. So I don't know when that'll be approved, it'll be later on in the spring. So nothing really to report there.
Those aren't due till the end of the month, so you probably won't hear for a while.
Yeah, I won't hear for a while, but I had everything done, so I just went ahead and submitted it. Sometimes they'll do us a solid and kind of review through it, make sure I dot all my i's and cross all my t's. They've done that in the past, so I send it up early. If they get a chance, great. If they don't, what we do. So Distress Road. I'm going to go before the council to get all that approved for them, get that done, but I just wanted to run it by you guys. I think you guys know what roads we're doing, but I want to make it known. So Meridian Road, 130 West, 225 South, Wicks Road, and 400 South. They're all right there together, grouped up nicely. So when we do bid these projects, we should get a much cheaper price since they're all together. It's going to be one massive project. That would be a good thing on our account, just doing it all together. So jumping all over the county with 7 different roads. Everything will run through the council because it's money coming from the state. I'll have to get their approval and their signatures. But we'll obviously do the roads. They'll make sure you guys are good with the roads that we're doing. If that makes sense, what I'm saying.
Roads acceptable to the board?
Yes.
Okay. Seems like we're okay.
Yeah, I figured you were. I just want to make sure. No. So then, yeah, I will get before the council. I think we got some scheduled for next week. I'll get that going. So we can get that on the board. Last thing, it's really just more information. I'm hoping this project runs smoothly. So Bridge 254, it's a replacement. Currently, it's a metal arch, 21-foot span metal arch. It's failing. I'm going to replace it this summer. It's not worse, nothing out of the ordinary. We're just going to do it. Well, at NACE conference in Buffalo, I found this is what happens when you put engineers together. All kinds of weird ideas happen. So there's a thing called fiberglass reinforcement instead of using steel. Like there's steel rebar, we use fiberglass. It keeps the bridge decks from corroding. The supplier talked to me. I was with a member of Purdue LTAP. We all got together. There's a chance that we can get this all done, try something new. It's lighter. Technically, it's stronger because we're adding different materials. So the guys should be able to use it when they're building their bridge decks, laying all the rebar out quicker. So I'm going to try it. I have a meeting on next Monday, on the 23rd, to discuss it, see what goes on. But I'm going to keep you involved. It's something we're going to be the first one in the state to do it. So I'm kind of proud of that. Hopefully it works out. So everything, the abutments will be steel like normal. It's just the deck that's going to be fiberglass. So be pretty cool. Something to try. Hopefully if it doesn't work, then we know. But Purdue will inspect it and test it to make sure it's strong. We're going to compare it to another bridge that we just did. Just so we know, we're going to try it out and we can know if it works, great. If it doesn't, well, it won't. We got it. So I will keep you involved on that. I just wanted to let you guys know. It's kind of cool. That's all I got.
Okay, I have nothing else. Anyone else? Thank you. Health update? Good morning.
This morning I'm here to let you know that all 4 pathways are completed. So we just finished up e-connectivity, I believe that was last Thursday. So for e-connectivity, it is a little bit different other than those 3 other projects because there's a lot more limitations. So in e-connectivity, we can focus on broadband infrastructure, access points, and cybersecurity. And after reviewing with different local providers about broadband infrastructure, and then also the county has the access points and looking at the data from that, we chose to focus on cybersecurity. So the project that is coming out of that is going to be proposed to the core team, which is cybersecurity training classes for the general population. That could be for youth, seniors, adults, working adults, anything. Advertise that to the general public. So that will be taken February 2nd, along with the list of the packet that I gave the last meeting. So from quality of place, community wellness, or strengthening local economies. I will be going to the county and city council meetings this month to also give them the list of projects. So if they have any input or weigh in on any of those projects, they can let me know as well. So I'll just reiterate too, I will need, if you have any comments or questions about any of that packet or even the cybersecurity classes, let me know before February 2nd. That would be kind of the deadline. And after that, we should have a better idea of the projects we move forward with. That's all I have.
So in summary, in my mind, it's just, we've got a list now, core committee will review them and prioritize. And I'm not sure how the final determination gets made, because we're dealing with, the city of Jasper's involved, we're involved. I would think that we're going to come to agreements on things, but I don't know exactly how it would turn out if we couldn't. So I'm hoping for the best, but but if we say we want to do internet to every single home, whatever that costs, and they say we definitely don't have any interest in that. Not that that's not even one that's on the board, but I've got good hope. I mean, we've had a great relationship. We've been working well with them so far. The meetings have gone okay.
And the state and the university partners who ran these pathway meetings, they will be there like facilitating to help also give reasons why these projects were chosen. It's not every core team member was able to be at all the meetings. They'll be able to give us good background too. So everyone's on the same page.
So if I was to go on my own recommendation, my own thoughts, I'd put, a lot of towards the sewer project. That's where I'm at with a lot of it. But if you, like Ryan said, if you have something and you say, oh, wow, I didn't think of these things, this is the one I would support, then, I want to bring your voice to those meetings. So that,
I agree with Chad on the sewer project.
the sewer project didn't get a lot of support at these public meetings because
It's not very fun,
Didn't even get
Very-
mentioned a lot of times.
very necessary though.
And one of the things we did learn, or I learned, was we provided Orange County Fiber PSCI. There's a next level connections part of it that if they're not coming to your home, you can say, hey, I'm not getting served, and they will bid to come do your individual home or your little area. And I think just last week there was it 67 or 80, somewhere in that range that just happened in Du Bois County, which was by far the most in the whole state. Of those last, that house that's out in the middle of nowhere, or they're just not being served. So that was a pretty neat thing. So what those companies do is they say, we'll do it for $2,000 or whatever the amount is, and if they're the lowest bidder, then the state will fund them to make things that wouldn't economically make sense because it's such an important thing for folks. It's kind of neat. Anybody have anything else for Ryland? All right. Well, thank you.
You're welcome.
Sure.
When our work doesn't close, we still can't shut down, right? So it's just, I don't think it's all. But it's just not a realistic workload for the amount of. It's not close. I mean, there's solutions. There's, what I really need is I need more staff to be able to do more responsibilities. That's really the ugly truth of this. I need persons to be able to say, this is your task now. To do it all the way through. Right. To do it at a pace and to be as responsive as I think we should be good. I mean, we could not be as good a partner with everybody and be as responsive, which is more commonly, I think, what happened previously. I think to do it, right, we just need more people. I mean, I don't know. I don't know. We'll see how.
See how it's June and July. Right. Yeah, you're on the switchboard over there. But it is unfair. Right. Right. Yes, would you be, you're in the county, yeah. Yeah. So. We just, county fees, probably, yeah, unfortunately, everybody's got to get I mean, we would,
Was that CCNG an application?
23 was. So pictures. Right, yeah. Okay. I think there's a lot of things there.
Right.
I can't say so much. That's how you categorize your talking as girls.
We have just about a couple minutes here before our next agenda item. I had my first Two Boy Strong meeting, that was executive meeting, and that was interesting. I think hopefully I'm gonna enjoy what we're doing there. All kinds of things going on. If you want to see the report,
Andy, what's the number to call to?
812-481-7045.
one of the things that came up on our health report, or at our pathway meetings, was childcare, and Du Bois Strong is working with Transform Consulting, and they should have a report done by the end of January on some information regarding childcare. And childcare funding and legislative committee will begin meeting in the first quarter for our state representatives. So that meeting went pretty well. And we will move on to regional sewer update.
Hello, Mary, this is Sandy. I'm here, I'm gonna put you in.
Correct. 9:45, one's on the agenda. Let's see,
Can you hear me?
Yes.
Okay.
All right, Mary, you're on.
Oh, hello, gentlemen, ladies. Apologize for not being able to be there in person today. But just wanted to, I sent out an email last night, with just some bullet point updates. Basically, we sent out notifications, letters in the mail to all property owners about the survey work, with my phone number on it if they had any questions or concerns. I've taken a couple dozen calls probably about that, but they've all just been wanting to know, if people need access to fenced-in yards or, things like that, just basic questions. Haven't got any negative type responses or anything like that. There's all been pretty positive feedback. We have started the official deed research this week as well. The first round of field survey, which is for the preliminary engineering report stage, that should between 8 to 12 people out in the field right now working on the survey. Depending on whether they're using the GPS units or they're doing traditional total station surveys, but so you should see a pretty good presence of park geeks out in that area right now. We've been meeting with Jasper and their engineers, which is Midwestern, the first Tuesday of every month to discuss the progress. And as we talked before, this project and whatever Jasper decides to do, to take, to accept the wastewater from the regional sewer district, those two projects need to run concurrently. So we have to coordinate pretty heavily. So we're meeting once a month. And then I'm also doing a virtual call with Derek from Midwestern on once a month. So basically, the engineers are talking every 2 weeks to try to make sure we're staying updated on everything. As of right now, Jasper's goal is to put in a new wastewater treatment plant on the north side of town and redirect a portion of their existing system on the north side to that new treatment plant. So their new treatment plant would be designed for future flow, for the regional sewer district flow, and for some of their existing capacity on the north side. In our next meeting at the beginning of February, Clark Deep plans to have the major alignments laid out. It won't necessarily say like which side of the road, but at that point we'll have it laid out as to what areas will be gravity, how many lift stations exactly we'll need, where about we'll need the lift station, so we can start looking at property for the lift station portions. And then about April, the survey crews will go back out and they'll get the last fine tuning information that we need once we have an alignment. Any questions about all that?
No, I think your email and your explanation was pretty clear. Of course, my concern is always timing. I hope that we can keep everything moving, but we're limited by a lot of things, so it's an important project to the board and the county, so just hope we can continue the good work that's been done so far.
Thank you. Yeah, we're chugging right along, and I mean, as you said, we both expressed it as the timing is tight, and we're keeping our fingers crossed and everything. We do have a little bit of buffer built into that schedule in case we need it. So hopefully we won't, but it's there if we need it.
Okay. Anybody else? Brent, anything on your side?
No.
Okay, Mary, well, I think that's probably it. Thank you for the update.
Thanks, Mary.
Hope you feel better.
No problem. Thank you.
Thank you. Bye-bye.
Bye.
Well, good. All right.
Do we need to do anything with the Baker Tilly contract for this project?
We talked about that last night. That's the last thing we have to do, but the council, I guess, will ultimately approve it.
Okay.
So
Okay,
When I
gotcha.
saw that, I thought we had already approved that, but
I still haven't gotten the email.
What,
Just the one from Mary, it's not on my phone yet.
Yeah.
So I don't know what the delay is, but I thought I'd reference it as she was speaking, but I spoke with her last night, so.
The one that has the attachment of the contract?
Well, what she's talking about this morning.
Oh,
That she sent out last night.
I can try to forward it to you if you
So
want.
I just did.
Oh, you did?
Yes. I'm sure she sent it to me, sometimes I don't get them right away on the phone for some reason.
Oh, we talked about it too, because I'd asked them to change a couple of things and they did that.
Yeah, that's what we talked about last night, that he had a couple of changes.
They took care of us.
Those changes were made, so we should be good to go. But she couldn't be here today. She said it wouldn't hurt to push it until our next meeting, but maybe we could pass that today if we wanted to. She's just not here. My last email's from the 15th. The last email on my phone's from the 15th. So whatever, so I send you between then and now.
The engagement letter is dated November 8th.
Right, and I had reviewed it, I think, maybe November, probably got back with her, and then they will fix those probably December sometime. I'd have to remember what it was.
Is that? Yeah, I'm just checking here. So in December, my response to it was, when I read it, there was a lot of fluff and one page of what they could do for DuBois County. And it seemed in order to me. I asked if we had a way to pay for it. The auditor replied that the council decided to use ARPA funds for it. And I guess that's as far as we got with it. So as far as I'm concerned, I would move that we approve the contract agreement with Baker Tilly. If the board's okay with that, then we can just sign it whenever the document is available.
I'll second your motion.
And again, for the record, let's see what the.
So you're signing a contract that you don't.
No, I've got a copy of it here. I mean, I don't have a hard copy.
We've reviewed it once, we've had some pretty big changes.
So do you need more time to review it, or you?
I'm good.
Board, okay. I'll, give a first and a second. All in favor of the motion, say aye.
Aye.
Aye. Anyone opposed? Motion carries.
I can get that printed if you'd like.
That'd be good.
You have something for me to complain about.
So I had asked for one paragraph to be changed, that they get fixed and amended based on what I'm reviewing here, so I'll see what can get done.
So I'll do two miscellaneous items and we can get into the next agenda item. So there's a legislative conference coming up. It sounds like there's some interesting things going on. I'm sure you guys both get these as well. in the mail. So, I don't think I'll take a day off of work to go up and do it, but you want to pass it over? If you don't like it, want it, you can.
Actually, I won't get it. I'll do it too.
The next item was, at the last meeting, I talked about some surplus cell phones and technology that we had that I mailed to Case Butler, a company that purchases these kind of things. They did get me and sent one to the auditor as well, stating that the three iPhone 6S's that we had were defective. Samsungs that we sent were defective, and they recycled some other things. So basically, we got nothing out of them. And it took multiple phone calls to try to get.
And now they send us a letter about once a week.
They send us letters all the time, and they're by different salespeople. So I don't know if they're legit or if they just send out this stuff and then tell you, oh, it's no good, and we don't know. We don't have any way of knowing what. I mean, they are excess property from the county, and I thought this was a way to try to make some money on them. So I asked for clarification. I said, what was defective about them? It says that they're locked. So does that mean we need to unlock them before we send them? Does anybody know?
Most people's phones are locked at one service.
I mean, I didn't know if they meant locked that way, where it's
Or locked.
for Verizon, or if it was locked and they couldn't open it.
User lock.
Right, like you have to put a code
Right.
to get in there. So I asked them a question about that, maybe they'll get back with me, maybe they won't. The experience hasn't been pleasant, so I can probably use them again.
So you kind of just bring it back.
Right, so maybe we can get the phones to somewhere else. Take them to solid waste.
That'd be my suggestion.
Solid waste,
Yeah. Don't put the time and effort into it for nothing.
I think the library takes small items. I think the Carla has a box down there, so I could probably put them in there as far as that goes. Okay, Sheriff Kleinhelter is here, and he has a presentation or something he'd like to discuss with the board.
Yeah, thank you guys, good morning. I'll give you a handout. It's kind of a synopsis. I know that you have all met with me previously and we've discussed this. So I put a little bit together just to, Ted, do you want one? I have an extra. So I put this together just as a little synopsis of what we are asking for. So we'll just kind of go through this page by page. From 2009 through 2021, our calls essentially have increased by 50%. And realistically, we've added 3 additional road deputies. We added 5. 2 of them are school resource officers, but just 3 of them to help with the calls. And that's partly why I'm here today. The next page, it will show you that there's 730 12-hour shifts in a year. And that's 12-hour shifts every day. So there's 2 12-hour shifts every day, so 730 of them. Looking at the schedule, there was 660 of those shifts that we had just 2 deputies working at a given time. And that does not include sick time, comp time, or training if it's not listed. If it's just like, you might be working that day and there's a training going on, so you go to that training. However, you're available for calls, but you still have to get your training hours in. So that's pretty significant when you think about the entire county, and there's only not even 90 shifts that are full staffed per year. So next page.
Those other 70, how many are on those? Whatever it is.
3.
What do you call it? You're calling it 4?
3.
We have one more.
Yeah. We have 3 assigned. You can go back to the next page, and it will show you that. So from 6 a.m. to 6 p.m. on any given day, there's 3 patrol units assigned. That does not include, like I said, vacation or anything like that. And then 3 on nights. And that's how it's set up today. The next page will go with what we are proposing. And that the proposal on that is 4 assigned per 12-hour shift. And then having another one assigned to work somewhere like a 12 p.m. to a 12 a.m., a split shift. That's our highest call volume time frame, is usually 12 to 12, 11 to 11, somewhere into that nature. And having a split shift person like that from 12 to 12, we believe will eliminate, or not eliminate, but cut down on the comp time that's gained. They would be able to take those calls that happen closer to 6 o'clock in the evening. So if it's something that may take an hour or 2 to do, they could be in that and let the night shift or the day shift go home at their given time, and they would be able to work those calls to help cut down on comp time gained. And that's what we would propose. So we would.
So you're saying this is the page you're proposing?
The next one, Jack.
I don't know that I have another. The next page I have is.
You did
Yeah,
not.
I'm missing it too.
You're missing it too? My bad.
It's the second last. It's the last page. I think. This one?
That one. It's just
Okay.
kind of,
Okay.
it's, I must have looked at it there.
That's okay.
So it just kind of shows where we would propose, an extra one on each rotation, and then plus the one in the middle for the.
So what does the sergeant do during the day? I know they probably oversee those patrol deputies. What else do they do?
They oversee the patrol deputies. There is a lot there. I mean, they approve any type of report. And they work calls also if they needed to. But they would not be like our primary call taker. They would be more of a a supervisor on calls. But then they would also approve the reports, approve vacation, take care of the training, just some paperwork, logistics, administrative duties, and also they are call takers.
When you have proposed 1, proposed 2, proposed 3, that's 4 new positions.
6 new positions
I mean-
on that page, yes,
Those,
Yes.
and then these 2, the swing, and then 1 each on.
correct. The next page is just a kind of a year from 2013 through 2021, just our calls that we have went to, the traffic stops, drug cases, assisting other agencies. You can see that pretty much every call that we go to has increased, except where we would tell you that's the drug cases. Don't let that give you a false idea that drugs are going down in our community. It's just the amount of proactive police work that we are able to do. We're working too many calls to be able to proactively get the drug cases. And that's another proposal that I am asking for as far as that we will get to in just a few minutes. But just kind of gives you some ideas that of the call volume, that's how it's increased over the time. Also, what's increased is technology and how it's changed. Just in my 4 years of being sheriff, the paperwork has increased drastically, what the prosecutor's office is needing, what the court system is needing, how much more time that's involved in a case. And it can be, I don't want to say something simple, but just as far as like a domestic back in my day might have taken an hour to do. Now with technology, you go and you have to get search warrants for Google, for Facebook and all that stuff. Invasion of privacies, you might have to dig really deep into cell phones. And so it's the technology that's evolved, which also makes it harder for us to put a solid case together so that the prosecutor can prosecute it. The next page, that came from the
Sheriff, who tracks these types of calls that you're getting? Is that from 911?
It's a combination of 911, what we have in our RMS system, but a lot of them is delegated from 911. Like when they get the call, but obviously if we take the call on station, then we have the ability to assign what it is. But that all came from our RMS system, our management system.
Mhm. So one of the, and you may hit this later, one of the officers that you would like to add would be a civil process officer, is that correct?
That's a possibility, yes, yeah. So the paper service, and I'm not even certain that I have that, yeah, civil process. It's primarily staying the same, as you can see. In 2021, we served 3,731 papers. If we had a dedicated person to be a civil process server, that would allow the guys that are working the road to focus on working the road, to be proactive, and also to have time to work those cases. A lot of the papers that we are given to serve from the court system, from out of county court systems or anything like that, is time constrained. So their court case may be next week, but they give it to us this week and we have to get that served. It's not like we can hold on to it for weeks at a time. There are time constraints that it has to be served. So a deputy in today's world, that's a very important part of their job, is to serve papers, only because you have to get those papers served. You can't just hold on to them. Because then obviously if you don't serve them papers, they might miss a court date, and then that just puts the court system further behind because they have to cancel and move court dates and stuff like that. The next one for officer ratio in the proposal is from the UCR FBI. the FBI did an analysis that back in 2017 that did a minimum requirement that they believe is a minimum requirement per 1,000 people in your county to how many officers that you should have on your department. The proposed for DuBois County is 2.4 officers per 1,000 people. Currently today, we're sitting at 1.3. So if we went to 2.4, that would be showing us that we need 41 deputies. Today we have 22. So that's an increase, it would be an increase of 19 deputies. I'm not here today to ask for 19 deputies. We came together as a group. We looked at what we thought we needed to run a viable department, how we could make sure there's enough officers working when someone is on sick, when someone is on vacation, to work the calls, to give our citizens the amount of coverage that they want and need, and also to give us somewhat of a narcotics proactive policing drug interdiction team that would, and I say team lightly, just a couple people that's dedicated into that realm to try to curb some of the illegal narcotics that are in the county. As you can see, the next one is the rostered positions that we have now.
Can we go back to the
Sure.
officer ratio?
Uh-huh.
Since we've met, I thought about this one, and are these numbers don't take into account the other law enforcement?
No, this is just the citizens that live outside of Jasper, Ferdinand, and Huntingburg. These are just county residents.
So that population, you said 41,000, it would be much less than that.
No, it's not, it's like 16,000,
17. Well,
17, right at 17,000. The very last,
Oh, 17,000, I apologize, thank you. So, okay, that's what I was kind of looking at, the number of the people that we're serving, I just wanted to make sure.
right. Now, we are not including the resident or that live in the city of Jasper, Huntingburg, Ferdinand, any of the towns or cities in DuBois County. These are just county residents.
Thank you for clearing that up, I
Mhm.
didn't see it.
So the rostered positions that we have now is the sheriff, the chief deputy, 1 detective sergeant, 2 patrol sergeants, 3 detectives, 2 school resource officers, and then the 12 patrol deputies. That's what we have now. The next page will show what we are proposing. And that is a sheriff, a chief deputy, 1 detective sergeant, 2 patrol sergeants. We'll increase to 5 detectives, with 2 of those or 3 of those being dedicated to the narcotics world. 2 school resource officers, and then what we showed a while ago was the 18 patrol deputies, and then the possibility of 1 sworn merited deputy that would be assigned to the courthouse. The courts are continuously asking for police officers to be in the court for different reasons. We do have 2 jail officers that are assigned to the court. I believe it's important, the way we're moving forward in this day and age, to have a merited deputy in the courthouse, to help with the calls there, to help with the arrests, to be able to run some of the radios that need to go through dispatch, license information and stuff like that they're not able to do that at this point.
So
So
would you keep the 2 deputies, or they're not deputies, the 2 jail officers, the 2 security at the courthouse, would you keep?
I'm not
that?
certain on that at this point yet. I think we would have to see how that plays out.
Because currently, one of them, does he still sit their court sometimes?
Sometimes, yes, yeah. So I think, as you can see, I think in conclusion, we're not asking for 19 deputies, and that's what the crime statistics report that we should have. We sat down as a group, we figured out, like I said, what we feel we needed to do the job that the citizens expect us to do, and that's why I'm here today to ask for 9 deputies.
Further, on this, you had a request for some pay increases. Can we address, would you mind addressing those as well?
That's something that we will address with the council
Okay.
in a couple of weeks. I mean, if you have questions on it, you have to answer.
I guess as I'm considering our side of it, it's trying to think of what the big picture cost would be.
Mhm.
And so because you gave us some other numbers that showed our people, according to your numbers, are maybe
Yes.
underpaid compared to some other
Yes.
places, so from my standpoint, I'm not on the council, but just as a citizen, I would say that'd be the first thing I'd want to look at, to make sure we're
Right.
compensating the folks that we do have appropriately. Before we consider these other people, but I mean, working currently, again. So that's really the only thing I was thinking, but I'll just sit in whenever whenever the council goes. Is stuff though? Any comments or questions?
No, I don't think so.
Mr. Hofstadter?
It's difficult. I mean,
It is.
9 new positions, it's a big deal. Don't necessarily dispute your facts. It's just
I totally get it's a lot to process. I will say, without getting into it further, when we sat down with everyone and we looked at this, I also presented a way that it can be funded to the council. That's in their realm, that's in their ballpark. But I would not come here, I'm not coming to the council with, this is our problem. We came with, this is our problem, this is our need, and this is a possible solution and how to fund it. That's where we're at this point. And I think that's needs to be addressed with the county council.
From the jail staff, jailers, are you comfortable with the number of people you have for those positions at this time?
At this time, yes, especially with the numbers that we have in our jail right now, I think I'm very comfortable with that. Obviously, once we get into the new facility and if our numbers do get to where we're full, we may have to address that at a different time, but as today goes around, I'm comfortable with that, yes.
How would the board have any suggestions on how they would like to proceed? I would guess the sheriff would probably prefer, we just said we approve the 9 positions and he can fill them as he wishes. I don't know if we're that far. And it would be up to the council eventually to fund them or not.
I don't think I'd be prepared to make a decision today. Again, I don't dispute your facts here, and maybe we can come back to this in 2 weeks. That'll give the general public time to give us a phone call, express their opinion, kind of go from there. But yeah, I don't think I'm ready today to make this decision.
I agree with Nick. Of course, making decisions today is probably not the wisest thing. And maybe we can set some time aside for the 3 of us to sit down and discuss it as well.
We have to do it publicly. So we have to do it at a meeting, I guess.
Unless you did an executive session.
We don't know if we.
I'd be more than happy to talk to any public, if you want to hold a public meeting. I'll show them the same presentation that you did, that I showed y'all, and it's not asking for anything. I mean, I think we sat down and we discussed where we should be, and to me, that's a wish list. But we went to where we needed. I mean, it's been years in the coming. That's how we got 19 deputies short. There's no question about it. That's years of falling behind. And I know that it's a big ask, because in a couple of weeks, we're gonna ask for, like you said, it's gonna be how to fund this and also money. But it's not anything that's over the top. This is what we truly need.
All right. I appreciate, as I mentioned to you before, I appreciate you taking the time to not only give a presentation personally to each of us and for the council, and then to be here again today. From where I stand, and I may have mentioned this to you before as well, I want to make sure when I ran 7 years ago, or however many years ago we initially ran, I wanted to support law enforcement, make sure that because your office was properly staffed and had proper facilities. I think we're well on track with proper facilities. Now it's time to possibly focus on the personal aspect of it. I don't know where I'll get on what I would be in favor of or not in favor of yet, but it is time to look at that portion of your office in my opinion. So I'm happy to look at it again in 2 weeks. We'll put, so will you be seeing the council probably, it'll be next Monday?
It was the 30th.
30th. So we won't meet till after that. I think that'll be good too. For one, the public will get to say, they may say, are you crazy? That's way too many. Or they may say, that's a long time coming. And the other thing that I find interesting is that when we look at it from an economic development standpoint too, I think from what I've read, what people look for when they move to a community is they want it to have good schools, number one, and they want it to be safe, number two. More so than a lot of the other things that we traditionally think of as economic development. So I think it's something that I'm happy to continue working with you on it. Okay. Anybody else? 15 minutes in first meeting in February for us. This will be after the council's meeting so we can see what their thoughts are as well.
February 6th. I can do 8:30.
Yep, that sounds good.
February 6th.
Can you do 8:30?
I'm out of town that week.
I mean, do you want us to discuss it anyway, or would you rather us wait till
You can discuss it, yeah.
Yeah, I mean, it'll be online, you can see.
I can have these guys come. There's nothing that I know that they don't know. I'm sure one of them would be happy to come if you have any questions or you want to discuss any further.
Sure. I think that probably clears it up for today, unless somebody else from your team, your chief or.
I think they were, I had them all here just in case you had questions and I couldn't answer that, because it directly affects them
Absolutely.
also.
I think we're good.
All right.
Thanks, Sheriff.
Thank you, guys.
Can I ask a question? I can't. No, at the end of the meeting, yeah, be public comment.
You
We're talking to the sheriff outside.
Okay.
All right. 9:30, we have HR, health insurance, RFP, Mr. Rhodes. Thank you for being here. Thank you. Thank you, guys.
So today I'm here to request the Board of Commissioners to allow HR department to put together a RFP for the insurance broker and consultant service. So we've not had an RFP on this service since I was brought on in 2019, and that landscape and that market particularly is constantly changing. So for transparency and cost, et cetera, I would encourage us to conduct one. So if you do approve it, I will need to complete the paperwork involved because I asked a few different sources and we don't have any records from where we brought on Karen Stone, Gallagher, pre-2019. I'm not sure exactly what year that was that they were brought on, but once paperwork would be ready, we'd open up the process to the interested potential partners as well as the incumbent Ian Gallagher.
When does the current contract expire? November or December, or is it year end?
It's
Number one, it'll be a new one.
And the process is so lengthy, so if we are going to be even considering it, we have to start now. If we don't start now, we will just be put too far behind the eight ball to even consider it. So it was on our radar to, we've had various other partners coming in. Of course, the last time we signed a 3-year agreement, I think, and that was in 2019, I think, 2020. So,
We've been with Gallagher 6 years because we did 2-year contracts, I believe.
so that's all I'm here today is just say, you guys say yay or nay, and then that'll put me in what direction I need to go.
I think it's good business to do it. I would support it.
I agree, I would have one request.
Okay.
Can we somewhat pre-screen instead of having every Yahoo who wants to present?
Yep.
Coming in here and presenting, kind of make it preliminary and then go for your top 3 maybe or 4 for the commissioners?
Yep.
Okay.
And like I said, I've got a few select, there's about 4 of them that's actually been in contact on a regular basis with me, so, you know, I feel like that those folks, they've stuck around knowing that this, you know, a potential possibility could be happening, so, you know, I would put more favor to those just because
Feel like
they've been involved.
Some get their 15 minutes and we know clearly before they even start that they're not gonna cut it.
Right.
I know that we've had 2 come in here and we send them when we open up, we'll send them to them, so we've got, I know 2 of them.
No, I think it's a fine idea. I would, support moving forward.
I agree.
Consensus is to move forward.
That's all I need. All right, I'll get to work on the paperwork involved and then we'll go from there.
Sounds great.
All right, thank you.
Okay. All right, so we have 3 more agenda items, the last one being the Shannon, we'll try to get all these items done before then. Let's, see if the county auditor has any business today.
I have surplus items to be, this lovely laptop here
You want us to try to get that
from the
working for us?
ambulance department.
Yeah, for sure.
I also have 6 office chairs.
So the
And,
additional from the last.
well, you told me you only gave me 3. You only let me get rid of 3 last time. The other 4 were brought over here to the room downstairs. And then there was 4 blue ones in there that are falling apart.
Okay.
Those were taken, so those 4, and then there's 2 other office chairs that are
With 6 jump
6
chairs.
jump chairs. And then there's a typewriter that has decided not to type anymore.
Right.
6 chairs, typewriter, broken computer, laptop. I'll move that we declare all of those items surplus to be disposed of.
Do we want to check with the museum on the typewriter first, or I'll second?
We still use a typewriter, believe it or not, we were just using it last week, and all of a sudden they typed it to the return and went, oh.
All right, I've got a first and a second, I believe. All in favor of the motion, say aye.
Aye.
Aye. Anyone opposed? Motion carries. Oh, did somebody make copies of these?
No.
Or this was a sheriff's
We
copy?
drew it.
I never got it
You
to
can
draw
have a
it.
clean, you can have a clean copy. Next up, we have that Baker Tilly contract. We've already approved it, so I will sign it.
You know, once the computer came out, it was probably state of the art. That's when I was really excited to have it.
Yeah, let's do it. We're up now. So this just needs one signature. So put this back. Put that back the same
Somewhere,
for
and I thought there's-
Had a few lines to fill out.
So with this Baker Tilly contract, it doesn't need anything from council then?
I think it was already addressed by the council.
Okay. We're gonna pay for that art,
Correct.
so then I just need to upload it to
Upload it.
give it to
Give a copy to Mary and
Mary.
probably to whoever the rep is.
Anything else from the auditor's office?
The only thing I think I had was the computer upgrades I sent you guys. It's time when we have the money, so.
I believe by, we've had support for replacing them and it's on the schedule and they're,
Now, Matrix Riley and I have been working on trying to get rid of the Windows 7 machine, so I think we're about there. Just a little bit We do the 6 in probation, 2 in third for courtroom. That'll be this round, and then we'll work on, I believe, community corrections might be, I have to look at what they have. It might be the next department.
Okay. I'll go through some miscellaneous things here. Next department head meeting, January 25th, in the annex conference room at 8 a.m. The 911, we had a 911 meeting, first one of the year, last week, on Monday, and Mr. Wilson discussed that they're getting everybody, we had 3 staff members that were in training, we're getting them closer to being 100% on their own. He, as we heard from the sheriff, his desire to have new employees, 911 said they, after they get these people up to speed, they're gonna reevaluate their system as well to see if they need an employee. So he wanted to put a bug out. And we've had requests from 911 for at least 6 years of wanting more staff at times. So that's just wanted to give you a heads up that might be coming up. We had a DuBois County Community Corrections Advisory Board meeting a couple Tuesdays ago. At that time, the president of the board was unable to be there, vice president was unable to be there, and maybe one other person. We decided to have a special meeting in a couple weeks to reorganize and select a board president and vice president. Mr. Quinn was the president, and Danny Grandma's was vice president, and either of them were able to be in attendance, so we thought we'd give it another month to let people decide to see who's interested in it and just consider it. We have had one person on the board at least to say that they would accept the position if we wanted them to. All right. Try to do this in 3 minutes. I sent you guys essays on vision statements. I printed off another copy of it here. This came from my working through the health program. They asked for the city of Jasper and DuBois County to give them what our vision statement is, and I told them I was unable to do that as we don't have one. The city of Jasper does have one. The city of Jasper, just for reference, is Jasper is a dynamic and innovative community with a focus on families, healthy neighborhoods, connecting people, and employment growth. Jasper will be the ideal choice for residents, businesses, and investors. That's theirs. I gave you some other examples that I found from across the country, and some of them are lengthy, kind of like the DuBois County or the Jasper one, and some of them are one sentence. The one from Adams County, which I think is this is Adams County, Colorado, not Indiana. They have theirs as direct. It says, Adams County is the most innovative and inclusive county in America for all families and businesses. So, and what a vision is it's what would you want to say about yourself 5 years from now? What do we want to shoot for? Where do we want to go? What is it that we want to be? My little research on it is that it should be concise, clear, future-oriented, challenging, and stable. I put together 4 different ones that they're kind of in right after the bullet points, and these aren't necessarily the items that I would put in here, but I put in placeholders. So, like number 1, DuBois County is the most safe and healthy county in America for all families and businesses. That's pretty aspirational. That would tell me that over the next 5 years, we're going to focus on better supporting our health department, better supporting our sheriff's department, and those are our goals. Or maybe we say, those aren't our goals, maybe our goal is we want to be recycling heavy, or we want to be, so when I have health and safety here, that doesn't necessarily mean those are the 2 things that we put in there, but those are placeholders that I thought were decent starters. And that one I mirrored after that Adams County one, where it's direct, it's short, it's easy to remember, or we can put it on a piece of paper and stick it up here, and when somebody comes up, we say, that's what we aspire to do or to be. The next one, it says DuBois County, and this one my wife liked. Du Bois County, so that's at least one taxpayer. Du Bois County will cherish our history, embrace opportunities, and support a safe and healthy community in which each person is important. Again, we can take in and out things that we like or don't like. Du Bois County should provide opportunities for all residents to advance their quality of life through support of safety, health, and economic initiatives. And 4, we envision a county with strong schools, healthy and safe communities, beautiful landscapes and farmlands, thriving businesses, and opportunities for all residents. So again, those are just for format. I'd like to be able to put something in this book. We don't have to decide on a permanent one, but if we could at least agree on something for this booklet, I would appreciate that. And or we can do one for the county. Generally, I look at these things as throwaway activities. You know, whenever I see other people doing them, and I think, oh, great, they're going to be everything to everyone, and it's just something you stick on in reports. But as I was going through it, I thought, that would be nice for me to say, what am I going to value over the next several years? Where do I want to put my focus? Because we don't have the revenue to do everything for everyone. But we do have the revenue to do some things really well. For example, we're on this board, previously, you and Elmer thought trail systems and that for economic and health activities was something that was really important. That wasn't as important to me. We really appreciate the sewer thing. It's not as exciting to some people in the public, especially if they're not going to be impacted by it. But I don't know. I'm going to shut up now. I'm going to hear if either of you have any comments.
I'm not opposed to it, but my issue with it is that we're all elected officials, and the next person who sits in my seat may have a completely different vision for the county than I do. And if we implement a vision statement, what we might end up doing is changing it every 2 to 4 years, depending on who's in office. As far as a guiding principle, that you kind of have your vision and I kind of have mine. I don't think that's necessarily a bad thing, and maybe you're right. Maybe I should write mine down and put it up here. Remind myself every once in a while that when I sit in the seat, what it is I want the county to look like. But I see it more business oriented, where you got the same leadership at the top, and they're all striving towards a certain goal, and you hire people to do towards that goal. But in government, our leadership changes so much that I don't know that it would be effective. That said, if it's just for this document, maybe not such a bad thing.
Commissioner, thoughts?
I don't have thoughts. I mean, I like your vision, I really do. But as far as changing, just like Nick said, from time to time, everyone sees our vision.
As far as the vision being something that I don't think it would saddle anyone in the future, but I think it would be I think what I find important is going to be, or what we as a board can agree on that's important, will be different than what it will look like in 6 years. So I'm absolutely with you there. But if they care, they could change it then, or they can just leave it on the shelf. So, yeah, help me out here so we can, at a minimum, we will find one of these 4 maybe, or modify one of these so I can give it to our health coordinator for the
Number 4. Touches on quite a bit.
I agree. I like it.
It touches on several things there.
I'm more of a short to the point person, so I like number 1 because, and I filled in what's important to me for the next 3 years. It's safety and health. As I said when the sheriff was here, schools, safety, and health are going to be the 3 things I think are going to be the community. So I like it being just blunt. And we're going to put money towards safety, health, and schools, or whatever those things are. And I like number 2 in that it talks about safety, health, embracing opportunities, and having remembering where we came from with our history.
I do like the part with the history in it.
And the last part of it, where we talked about each person is important, making sure that we don't take our actions based on corporate needs only or one part of the county's needs only.
I don't disagree with that, but I guess I feel like it doesn't have to be stated. If you, for instance, number 4, you said we vision a community of strong schools, healthy and safe communities, beautiful vegetation, farmlands, thriving businesses and opportunities. You could leave off for all residents, because I feel like that's assumed. Or should be assumed. If you live here, it is for all.
And Commissioner Stefan, you felt like 4 was your favorite.
Yes.
Are you okay with eliminating those last 3 words? And
Absolutely.
for the purposes of the health document, we will use the remainder of it as written.
Absolutely.
Okay. So I'll make that motion that we use it for that purpose.
Okay, I'm sorry.
All in favor of the motion, say aye.
Aye.
Anyone opposed? Motion carries. Thank you for your time on that one. Next up, we have opioid settlement discussion. So DuBois County will be, has already received funds in the amount of $102,563 as restricted revenue, and $43,955.91 is unrestricted revenue per the opioid settlement funds that came from the state of Indiana. Last year we had somebody from Safe Haven, I think, came and requested some funds from that. Remember that one that was in Orange County is where they said they'd like to have a building and that they serve people in DuBois County. So they would like our support. I believe Life Springs has said that they have some ideas that they would like with that money. And the JRAC, the Justice Reinvestment Act Committee here in DuBois County, the state said we must have one of those about a year and a half ago, so we formed one. And initially they said it shouldn't make any more work for your county, and then as we move on, it's more work for the county, all the time. But it's an opportunity for everyone to come together to try to find ways to improve our justice system. So one component of that is we have a consultant that we're working with, and the JRAC is going to be talking about, can we use these funds for some of the needs that will be recognized or decided upon with that group. Just for your information, unrestricted share, we could put into reserve, not reserve, we could take that money in and use it in any way that we would use any other tax dollars. The county council could appropriate it for any needs. The abatement share, the state has put out I don't know how long it is, but it's very long, couple schedules of, these are things that we say you can use that money on. And so I just wanted to bring it up to you that people have and will continue to ask for those funds, and maybe it's something we could consider what we want to do with them. And I did make a copy of it here. This is looks like there's 15 pages worth. I went through and marked off the ones that I thought were interesting for DuBois County to consider, but I guess that JRAC committee will be looking at these. So,
Is that what you're looking
The 15-page exhibit E.
so I asked the auditor last week how we could use the funds, and I believe she sent me information saying that the unrestricted funds are, like I said, that they would go filter through the county council as any income we do, and the council can appropriate. However, the council could say we want to use it for roads, or they could do it for opioid. Any government purpose. And the other amount, I asked Mr. Schneider to review it, and what did you find?
I found that the 2 court settlement orders total over 1,100 pages, so I haven't read those yet. And as far as who will
Can
be.
you give us a 2-sentence summary?
I think I just did, but very well. No,
And I've reached out then to the Municipal Lawyers Association in Indy for some clarification on those uses, as well as the Attorney General's office.
I think it's kind of new that they don't even really know what else there yet.
So my question on that is, do we need to concern ourselves with those dollars because we will get to direct where they go? Or will it be the county council that will get to direct where they go? Just so we know who the appropriate person is when somebody comes to ask. There's no need for them to come ask us if we have no authority to
And
put
that's
that.
on the restricted funds, yeah. But for the opioid.
Right, for the restricted part, the unrestricted, we have an idea of where that goes, so that's just something I wanted to bring up. Further, the thing that's a little challenging with this, it would be, so this first year, we're getting $145,000 total. Next year, we get $25,000, then $31,000, $31,000, $35,000, so
My Dave is telling me about it.
so we get, we're gonna get $30,000 a year after this.
Got in here. My Dave too.
So as I was looking at it, again, my first thought was maybe we could use $25,000 of this per year for towards a narcotics officer, if that was a need that we had.
You're
Or
not gonna get 25.
we'll get at least $25,000 every year
Oh, you mean in the abated part?
in either part of it. I mean, if we combine it. But again, I'm just saying,
You can't, they're two separate funds. I can't mingle them. They're two separate funds.
could you use like on 2038, could you use the full amount of the abatement share and the full amount of the unrestricted share?
But they're out of two different funds.
Right.
They're not put together. Just so you understand.
But I mean, from a paperwork standpoint, you can still do it.
You'll do some out of here and some out of
Right.
there. Yes.
So, I don't know what the right answer is on it, but I know that we're gonna have people at this consultant. I said, what's the timeline? What are the commissioners doing with this? Because they don't want us to say, we're gonna give the money to Life Springs because they had a great idea and then miss out. I'd love to see great ideas from people who can select where we want to go with it, but that's that. Anybody have any feelings or comments on it? How many pages can you read a minute, Mr. Chair? You getting this done by 10:15? Okay, so I'll just continue to inform the person that we have no immediate plans for the fund. We have to just, if indeed we even have the authority to disperse them ourselves, it may all come from the county council, so I don't know. But we'll find out more. Okay, so 9:55, we had a miscellaneous employment issue, so this is what, I did send you something about this previously, about the health coordinator's position, and I think I have an understanding where we stand on it. Just her, I don't know if we call it a contract, but her time with us is limited unless we find an additional position, so I think I know where we'll stand on that at this point. Mr. Schneider, do you have anything?
The two things were, Sandy provided to me and the clerk, the election notice. It was approved, the precinct's establishment order was approved by the Indiana Election Division. And the clerk of the county has published that as required. So that's just an update on what we've done there at the end of the year. In regards to the purchase of the trash site, that is still a work in progress, waiting to get the signed deed back from everyone. And then I had heard from the title company, because of the number of owners, their locations and names, that the search was a little more in-depth than they had anticipated. And I said, well, hopefully not too terribly in-depth, because we don't have so much money budgeted for this, and they'll let me know. I'll keep in touch with our highway department on that, to make sure that there's enough there. If not, find it somewhere else. And then in that agreement we had signed, I guess we had anticipated a closing date of January the 31st. I know this is something we want done, a consensus from this board, that if we fall outside of that, there's no objections from the county's perspective. I don't believe that there should be, but that's not my decision.
I would have no objection. We need to get it done in whatever time frame it takes. That's fine.
There are a few logistical issues we're obviously working through.
Anything else?
No, it is 10.
Okay. It's 10 o'clock and we have bid openings for 911.
Mr. Wendell, may I borrow your letter opener?
Hello, Mr. Wilson.
Hello, sir.
How are you?
I'm good. How are you?
I'm well.
Good.
Serious? That's never listening unless you.
Yes, more bids? All right, thank you.
You're relaxed.
I think while he's physically opening those, I'll wait for, Victor Hostetter for that. Kind of update you and bring you up to speed on, this portion of the project.
Mr. Wilson, I haven't had this many boxes since Amazon delivered Christmas.
People thought I was moving out.
They'll be sorely disappointed, when
Yeah,
you find your way back across the
terrible
street. Like some colors.
Sure. So I asked for Mr. Wendell's letter opener.
Good enough?
I think it was.
Please check with me on this board.
Okay. You have a list of what needs to be in the deal, I'm just gonna open them up, take them out.
I have
Back.
in that RFP, using this, what is expected to be.
You're right.
Yeah.
Four copies, you get that.
Sure. Sure, that's right.
So, 2 to 4.
What I'm.
Yeah, that's.
And then an affidavit of non-collusion or both here. Was there any affidavit phone number or insurance requirement?
I don't.
Sure it's all.
Not that I know
So the first bid is from Evans Consoles Incorporated out of Texas. Their bid price is $150,271.86.
Can you repeat that number?
Yes, 150,271.86. I'll admit, I'm not sure how each person's gonna be packaging these, but this was handy. This should be, we have 4 copies, we have, yeah, okay, so that's all that. There you go. There's 1,100 pages minimum. Yeah, I'm gonna read these along with the court settlement agreements.
We'll probably do this other choice from various options. The form is in. Yes. Yeah, this is probably just the same comments. This one said it was the master. Those are priors. Yeah, it's. The second request open is from Sistema out of New York City, New York. At first glance here, it appears that the information provided is not complete. The bid form was, again, unless there's other options selected somewhere, not a dollar figure, and the non-collusion affidavit wasn't signed, so we'll investigate that further. First drawings.
Are you keeping the bid sheet?
I keep it a bit sheet. Same, I don't even know what bid sheet is, so. I think my suspicion will be, there will be multiple options, choices that could change.
Right, you put that on the sheet, like every option and every.
Haven't seen one.
We can get you an example.
Yeah, we'll
one
run through.
for your
Sure.
put one together for us.
That's any. Flash, digital copies.
Forms, page 4.
Oh, we don't want you drinking. You want to? Pretty good. No, that's all mine.
I used to use that for the police, like get different kind of.
Oh, right.
Stuff, but I got that myself. So every time I have to look somebody up, like,
You want that?
Yes.
So again, these will involve review of what specs are being provided to us, but this is from Watson. They have a grand total base proposal of 95234.55. Build, installation, shipping. And then there are other options that they've priced out as well. And they did have the non-collusion affidavit.
Watson, and I just know from prior dealings that vendors Thomas Shelby and company out of Ohio.
Watson Consoles, this is out of Washington, the state.
Not sure how that all works. There's manufacturers, there's a vendor. You're gonna start.
This is from Bramett Creative Business Products Limited out of Pickering, Ontario, Canada. At a minimum, we can assure you that these are not tampered with.
They're the same.
Just saying.
Randick.
BRAMIC.
Outside.
See if we can find price voucher and I can. Give the grand total. Page 37, start from 36. So this has a subtotal of $131,720.40. However, there's a 20% discount that's included in the quote, bringing it to a total in US dollars of $117,508.32, 117,508.32. That's the cost estimate. And then they too have additional options for consideration at different dollar figures. This is our final one. That's box 202.
It is.
This is from Zybex Systems Incorporated. They are out of Littleton, Colorado.
Zybex.
That is XYBIX Systems Incorporated.
Please send us if you don't mind. You want to- I don't know.
They've got my own search optimization for different ways you spell it, I guess.
There's multiple depending on the option.
And then
Virtual the same.
Yeah,
Really two, I would call it. So that
option one, option two.
two.
Okay. So the mayor provided, again, different options. Option one, straight. Option two, those corner units. For a straight option, it is 103,924.36. And for option two, which they defined as the corner units, that is 126,748.22.
Mr. Wilson, is there a reason we did two different styles?
Yeah, we had not decided as a team what kind of format we were looking at. We had reviewed, when we visited with vendors last summer and looked at a couple different layouts. We toured, several 911 centers, in that same time frame in this past fall. And we wanted to see presentations from both vendors, or for multiple vendors on both layouts. Straight, or what I think the industry term is linear, straight in a row, or corner style workstations. And I think our workspace could accommodate either, and we'll have to review the proposals to see what our preference would be. So for your information, what our plan is moving forward, I had a call with our consultant last week, in the middle of the week. And the plan moving forward is for us to form a team in-house to review all of these presentations and make our choices or have our votes. There is some criteria in that RFP that talks about the selection process and what it's a weighted selection process. In the RFP from last year from Ritter Consulting, our plan is for that team to be myself, Kim Snyder, our assistant director, Aaron Miller, our shift supervisor, and then two other yet to be determined staff members. So we should get a good snapshot and a good amount of opinions, and then present back to the board with what our choices would be based upon what we see. It's going to take some time to be able to do all that. I wish I had an exact time frame, but we won't hold it up, but we still have our work of the day. So I'm hopeful. I think 2 weeks is not near enough time. I think the earliest I would be ready to come back and present a recommendation would be 1 month from today, the first, whatever the day is on the
So you
calendar.
want to move the award from February 6th?
Yeah, I don't see that we'll be able to get this accomplished in that amount of time. There could be a possibility that we would need to do other site visits. We have gone to other locations from at least 3 of the 4 vendors that have presented, so we have seen it in person. I think we've worked ahead as much as we can work ahead. We just need to sit down as a team and get everybody's opinions. I certainly don't want to be the ultimate decider of things. And we're just gonna put our heads together, get the decisions made, and then come back and hopefully I'm hopeful that we have some good presentations there. I recognize some of the vendors that definitely in what we had seen and the vendors that we've spoken with. I'm happy to see that they have submitted information. Some of them are incredibly good products, and I think we're on the right track.
So did we have 5 bids, 1 being potentially incomplete or 2 being incomplete?
I believe one was, and I could not find a price nor a non-collusion affidavit.
And this last one, I cannot find the non-collusion affidavit in either.
So we may have to rebid bids?
Correct. We'll have to have a little further, a little more for, there's bids also, so.
Who was the first one? I'm sorry. I missed it.
Evans Console of Texas. At $150,000. 271.86.
And all of these quotes should be for all 6 workstations in the new workspace. Now, those won't necessarily be fully equipped, but we were hopeful to furnish all of them to ensure that future growth, we don't, it's not a cobbled together amount of furniture. Obviously, this stuff is incredibly expensive. I do recognize that. I believe we're talking about $150,000 worth of furniture, but it's the nature of the beast is what I have learned.
Mr. Schneider, if Mr. Wilson comes back with a recommendation of anything other than the low bidder, what will he need to do to justify that?
Well, there are special purchases. I know one was providing a discounted price. Again, I think the first thing that needs to be determined is one, whether or not they meet the specs of what was sent out of the proposal. Because again, one of them may have the appropriate forms, but it's not even what we asked for. You know, it's an octagon, okay? And therefore it's not meeting our specs. And I think that's gonna take a little bit of review to do here at the bid opening process. Ultimately, yes, the requirement would be that it be the lowest responsive and responsible bidder. Low is an easy, tangible number. Responsive and responsible are 2 separate things, which are subjective sometimes, which is why we ask for the references and you've gone with their work. Responsive is whether or not they gave us everything that we had asked for. So we're going to create a sheet for you to help go through to make sure that here's your punch list. What do they give us? What do they not give us? You can come back in then and you can reject all of them and accept one. If you reject them all, you just bid it back out, or do the similar process. You go from there.
If we find a bid that is incomplete and we wish them to be in the process, can we seek them out and say, hey, you're lacking these documents and
We have allowed supplemental things to be provided in the past in some circumstances. So
I don't know that
it is not, it's not off the table, but you don't know what's here and what's not here.
Sure. I will share these documents electronically with the board if you so desire. I will share them with our consultant as well. He is expecting sometime maybe later today or tomorrow that these are files that I can email him. I have no idea the sizes. We'll figure it out. We'll figure out the logistics of how to get it to him. He's not nearby. So he's in Indiana, but he's 4 hours away. So I'm gonna try to save some time and get him everything electronically for him to also review. And I think those experienced ties with projects like that is exactly why we have him on board for this portion of the project.
And they are available for public viewing?
Yes, there are a number of copies. Again, I would recommend that we try to leave one with the auditor or all with the auditor. And then make sure that Mr. Wilson takes an appropriate number of copies, but they need to be in both places.
At 911 and the auditor, or
Yeah.
okay.
You're gonna need them to review.
Sure, yeah.
Which is why we asked for more
I'm hoping
copies.
to only use electronic stuff. I don't want to review paper documents.
So your options would have been about 20 days to our next meeting or 34 days to our.
February 6th or February 21st.
February 21st as a starting point, I think, if we,
Sorry, do you recall what the RFP said as far as the timeline?
that's going to be outside the timeline.
Well, then the bids are they gonna be good?
Right, we gotta check on that too. If you're falling outside the timeline, then do we have to do an addendum or we've gotta make that right with the people who provided us the information? Or come back sooner?
This has February 6th for us to have a recommendation to the commissioners.
Well, I have counts.
I'd say let's set that as a
We
goal.
can, I mean, we can try.
Set that as a goal. Because we don't want to rebid it.
No.
We don't want to have somebody saying, well, if we would have had an extra week, we could have shaved it off, we could have gotten it. So,
That's where we'd sat down, that's what we need to attain.
Maybe the bids are all incredibly complete and easy to understand, and I will be surprised, but,
or maybe several of them aren't any good at all, so we'll only have 2 or 3 to review.
I just want to ensure that we have enough time.
And I think that the board's position historically has been that if it's incomplete, you're out. Because I don't remember us doing a supplemental before. I remember asking you for that before, but I don't know.
We just did,
We had something under the ambulance, if I recall.
we just did something where they didn't have some,
But what's that one bidder?
yeah.
I don't mind doing it if it was one bidder.
I think I'll know by the end of this week if, we'll be able to finish the evaluation. We have enough bidders with complete bids to get through our process. And I'll just have to report back if it's otherwise.
Sounds good.
I think you're right, I think we have them bigger at that time.
Yeah, I don't think I'd feel comfortable with asking somebody for an addendum or something later if it's either complete or it's not.
Correct.
Unless the board sees differently.
I recall it was the ambulance and we had one person, one entity.
And there we were just saving ourselves trouble.
Yeah, just
Okay.
got it done, don't we?
That RFP has gone out. I mean, it's been, there has been some time that has occurred. These vendors should not have been rushed to get this to us, in my opinion.
They had a few months.
Yeah, they've had months, so. we
All
got
right, Mr. Wilson, please give us an update whenever you think, otherwise we've got another thing.
I will be working with you on those specs for minutes.
What do you want me to do today?
He's gonna show you how, what I'm gonna put in the minutes.
All right, for the good of the board, I have no other business.
Okay.
Spyglass, I really, back in the day when Janet was the auditor, she did some of these things, and she wrote me a paper and said, don't ever do these again, they're not worth your time, energy, or money. But
I feel like if you want to put the time into it to, you know, that you want us to mull it over, go for it. If not,
she calls me about every 3 months, hey, have you thought about this yet? I wanna show you this so you can present it to your commissioners, and I'm like, I'm not selling your product.
right. And if you don't want to sell it, I don't want to hear it. So,
I just know that in the
You're
past,
welcome.
I have dug up documents and all these bills and all this stuff, and then they never go with it. It's like, why waste my time?
I would agree.
So this one is for technology, telephones, internet. We also had somebody in here before that was wanting to do the same thing with utilities.
Lights and lights, and they wanna change this to LEDs.
Video, so, yeah.
And then.
I think you said you may have interest in it, so.
Well, I didn't know if we could do a trial or something, you know, I don't want to prevent them from, you know, whether that may be.
They come in and they want us to pull all the information.
I think you end up like yourself.
Right, you're gonna get to us first, so I think it's your decision.
And then I'm just not interested in doing it.
Okay.
But the other thing is with our phone system, in our contract, with our telecare agreement with Matrix, they review our rates and everything once a year, so they do it. So we've already got that as part of the contract.
All right, what about this inlet thing? We want to see to reach back out to that. Hey guys, can we keep it down just a little bit, please? Everyone?
The one who wants to.
Yeah.
Yeah, that's fine. Ordinance.
I'm not aware of that.
I think you said something that a person wanted to present an ordinance to us or us to consider an animal ordinance for no commercial sales of animals, no dog mills.
A lot of times when I get emails that say, please forward this to your commissioners, I just forward that and sit there and read it.
So I guess if that person or anyone else reaches out again, I think as the president of the board for all these years, what I've always said is if you want 15 minutes, we'll give anybody 15 minutes to say anything that they want. So I guess if they ask and they want to be involved, then we can do that way. Otherwise, I didn't have a.
And again, within reason on that, because you know, a resident coming in to present an ordinance, I feel like it's one thing. If you have 15 different insurance companies coming in to try to sell us insurance, it's kind of a different scenario.
Those will wait till we ask them.
We'd involve the Du Bois County Humane Society and have a conversation with whoever wants to come in. You know what I'm saying, just.
So if any resident wants to talk to us, is it still gonna be the position of the board that they can come in and have 15 minutes? I think we even have a, public, I don't remember what it's called, Steve, it says meet
Oh,
there.
they're hanging on the outside.
Yeah,
of
we've
the
got it
door.
there where it kind of gives the meeting rules.
Quorum rules.
So people are welcome to come talk to us, and we're
They're
happy
on
to
the
hear them.
website.
So we've got that. Do we have any public comments? We have one. Come on up, sir. Or you can speak from your seat if you prefer.
Oh, that's okay. Mark Nowatarski with Du Bois County resident here. In support of what Sheriff Kleinhelter presented earlier, I would like to ask that a public input meeting be held, whether, I don't know how that gets handled, special input meeting, but I know for a fact that when we have these meetings, when the commissioners have these meetings, when the council has their meetings, and the information is put out, it's very rare that people see those.
I agree.
And so there's usually, from my history here, from attending a lot of these meetings and stuff, is there's never a lot of real opportunity to get it publicized, to have true public input. And again, I'm in support of everything that was presented, and I think it's only fair that, you know, the public gets a chance to support it or oppose it, either way. So I don't know how they get structured, but that's what I'm asking for.
Okay.
And then one other comment that I have is like 100% agree with Commissioner Hostetter on the vision statement for the government.
What, you think they're a bad idea?
For government, I do.
Thank you.
I didn't catch that.
He said he thinks vision statements for government are a bad idea. That paraphrase you said pretty well? Okay. Anybody else have a comment? Anything else from you, Mr. Schneider?
No, sir.
Auditor? Board? All right, we'll close the meeting. That is an extra one.